Well, welcome to another Winning Ways show where we have a very interesting show in store for you. Unfortunately, we didn't get Winks. It was breathtaking. We'll talk about that later. We've got lots of racing we're going to show you, including the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. And then we will talk to young Luke Ferraris, son of David Ferraris, grandson of Ormond Ferraris. He's been setting the tracks alight. And because he had an injury on Saturday, he wasn't riding work this morning, we were able to get him in the studio. And a most entertaining discussion I'm sure we'll have. But
thanks, Lawrence, for joining you in the Academy for making it possible to get him down here. It's great to get a young man down here to talk.
Absolutely. Lucky to be in the Academy because he didn't measure up.
Yeah.
Too tall. You know.
She just goes to show, eh?
Yeah.
And been hopeful for you and I when we were young. Were you tall when you were young?
Always.
Same as me, always.
And I was a good rider too.
Yeah, I imagine me without a beard in the Academy. They'd have said shave. Shave.
Luke Ferrari's got
Jim,
something to say about you.
I was luckily enough able to go and watch the rugby. Obviously the disappointment.
Were you lucky enough?
Yeah, obviously the disappointment at the end has to be counted. Yeah, Clive Napier got me a ticket and accommodation, so I went up Friday, back for Sunday racing. But full house, you couldn't move. It was they were hanging off the rafters to come and watch a game that oh so close is the term, but they should never have lost. Classic errors at the death.
Well, I attribute it to one factor: the bench is not strong enough.
Yeah.
And when you're leading by 2 tries, keep your guys on. You've got to keep marks on. You've got to keep guys that are game breakers and winners. Keep them on.
Yeah.
You cannot bring other guys on.
I agree. It's not the time to blood people.
Yeah, because the problem is that what happens is that the new guys, you lose a bit of shape, and that's what happened.
Yeah. And we saw it in the scrums.
They had it absolutely perfect.
Yeah. No, James, being there, you could feel the sentiment in the crowd. And amongst the people sitting around me, a couple of minutes to go, and we 5 points in front, and we give away a penalty. Bad penalty to give away. It's well inside their half, James, and this guy gets the ball, the new fly half, and he kicks it for touch, which is what he's going to do. Now, instead of him getting touched just outside the 22, there's not a defender in sight. The ball bounces 3 times in the field of play, and it's a 5-yard line up, and they go and win the game. Now, where's the fullback? Where's the wing? They have to go shorter. So that's just an error of, I don't know what to put down, schoolboy error.
Monumentous, because we should have beaten them 2 on a bounce.
That's right. That's right.
We gave them a proper run around.
Yes.
And they should be very worried about the World Cup.
World Cup now, I think all countries will be thinking, wow, we've got a chance of beating the All Blacks because they got beaten in their back garden, which they were unfortunate. They should have won, but they got beat. And we could have beaten them here. And the Australians are proving that they're not up to it. So that's them.
How was that game? Did you watch that game?
Yeah. The Aussies were well clear, and they fell apart.
Fell apart. What happened?
But Jim, do you see the English coach? The Australian guy who coaches the English. His name escapes me from it. It'll come back to me.
Eddie Jones.
Eddie Jones. He's taken Mitch from the Blue Bulls, cut his contract, and brought him in as defence coach for England. We play them in 3 weeks' time.
You know why? He's one of the best coaches.
He's one of the best.
John Mitchell's one of the best coaches around.
Yeah, England will get stronger.
Yeah.
And then Jim. I hate to say it, but your team has overtaken us in the league. Man, Arsenal have now won their last 6. They got 18 points, same as Spurs. 2 points off the lead. There's 3 teams at the top. What's the take on your team's sudden turnaround? The coach?
How many years have I been telling you? Get rid of Wenger. We got a chance.
Have you still got the Arsenal shirts at them? Or did you?
Still got it.
Well done. Well done.
But it's come out. It's got mildew all over it and whatever. It's just it needs a good wash.
They've become a good team, and at the top, still unbeaten Liverpool, and they haven't won in a few games.
What was that game, Liverpool man?
It was a game, James, that was very tight. Always tight. The chances were few and far between. Bear in mind, Liverpool had been beaten during the week in the Champions League and never had 1 shot on target. So they had concerns. Man City went there with the worst record for a league-winning team at any club. They can't get a result there. And then Mario stuck the penalty so far into Rosed.
That was poetic justice, because that was not a penalty.
That was a penalty, James. He didn't get the ball. The centre-half did not get the ball.
Yeah, but I saw a guy give with the elbow.
That's another incident.
And I saw another guy with a penalty outside the box. He got hit on the arm. One of the Man United boys got hit on the arm. That's a penalty in most people's...
Man United, let's talk about them, James. Mourinho's found his voice. Could this be the turning point for them?
Chance.
No chance. Not good enough.
No, not
good enough.
No.
You know,
they'll win against the weaker teams.
Yeah.
But to be 2-0 down at home against Newcastle, I think he was not praying.
The crowd must have been doing. All right, so that's the football, James. It's very tight at the top, which is great.
Yeah.
It's getting tight at the bottom, which isn't great for those teams. The rugby, we've got a chance. We're doing well. How's racing? Come on. We've got the future starting again in this country.
Big start this week. We've got a whole lot of young horses come through.
Yeah.
And I must tell you, I saw one that I really thought this is a top horse. We'll be seeing it later on. So let's go and first have a look at our 3 to follow. Right, let's go and have a look, and we go to Kenilworth, where they started. Wasn't Kenilworth? It was Durbanville. Where normally racing this time of the year is at Kenilworth.
Yeah, they do. Spring treatment.
Spring treatment. Durbanville's where we were. So you get a whole different vibe and feel to the races. Let's go and pick up the first one we found. Now, this one didn't run in the first 4, but when you take a close look at this run, this was a great run. Its name is Azeri Sun, and it's bred by Drockenstein. Owned by them, and it's by Silvano out of a Nashwan mare. Now, if this doesn't go a mile and a half, nothing ever will.
Nothing ever will, you're right.
So, have a look at this run. It ran over 1,250 metres on that track at Durbanville. Watch it closely. Let's go and pick them up.
Yeah, there we go. It's highlighted in Trap 2 as Azeri Sun. And it gets out all right, gets rolling, but the speed's on early, and your eventual winner is Tropical Hibiscus, who's got the red cap and Mary Slack's colours, who pushes hard for the lead. Louisa May's up there, so is Fluttering and Au Revoir, but gets to the lead, Tropical Hibiscus, and this is Morne Vinant and Patrick Krier, and it never relinquishes this lead. But the horse we found is in the Drockenstein Silks, on the fence, the light blue, probably 6th or so.
Yeah, she's in behind, and at first glance you wouldn't think too much of it. You see where she finished in the race, and you'd probably think, well, you know, it ran a pretty ordinary race. But if you watch it in the straight, young Torrental gives it one left-handed, and it runs on, and he puts his stick down and he just rides it out with the hands. And she's there behind the horse with the blue cap and the white sleeve, very animated, the jockey in front of her, and he's just giving her a push. Now, right in the middle of your screen. He gets a right-handed smack there, and she seems to start picking it up now. And instead of him persevering, he just gives it another right-handed smack, and just hands and heels. And from here on, you think, well, you know what, not a bad run at all.
Again, another horse gets into it late. Definitely, for me, follow this one. Definitely. Pedigree to go a trip.
Pedigree to go a trip. If this goes over a mile next time, you put your head down. We go to the next one, another one that looks like it will go a bit of a trip as well. And this was at Turfentine on the 6th of October. First race, Owl in a Tree. Owned by David Shaw, bred by Main Chance Farms. This is a dynasty out of a Giant's Causeway mare. This will go a bit of a trip too.
Yeah, this was impressive.
And this was unlucky.
This was impressive.
Let's go and pick it up at the start.
Yeah, there was support for it, but watch out, walks out of the gate, has no idea what's happening. This happens with these first timers. Boom, handler lets it go, it walks out of the gate, and suddenly it finds itself in the back 3. And, you know, how does it taste? Baba Rocket, they get up there, Jonathan, the speed's on, and this horse is on the fence and trying to get into the race. And for all intents and purposes, Gav Lorena's riding it for Jeff Woodruff. You think, well, this has got a lot to do. Of the horses in contention, it's second last in the orange.
Well, what is interesting in the straight, and certainly if you see the head-on, and we don't have the head-on here, is How Does It Taste, which ends up winning it for Dylan Lorena and Candace Torsten. It was her birthday, actually, so her birthday present.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Candace. Anyway, this interferes with Owl in a Tree, I mean, so badly, it's not impossible. Gavin Lorena has to snatch his horse up, and I think it would have won. The winner is in third in the white colours. This filly's moving up behind it. And you'll see now when the camera angle changes here, you'll see that Lorena gives his horse a smack with the left hand. And now he pulls his stick through to the right hand. When you see the head on, Gavin's going on the outside of him, and he runs back across him. So then now Gavin Lorena pulls his stick in his left, but by now the bird's flown. So you'd expect
James, the saying, unlucky to lose is severely understated in that case.
It really was. What interested me was there's an objection second against fourth, but nothing said first against third.
That had to be, so the winner should have been the runner-up. Bar Rocket.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway.
Jeez, you're right. That I would have been a bit upset if that was my horse coming through, because Owl in the Tree looked a good thing. When
have a very close look at this when this goes over a bit of ground. We go to 1,200 metres, Turpentine. The second race, Paul Peter, he's got a slew of nice horses. This is bred by Wilgeborst Drift, Maritz Fontaine, and owned by a very good mate of mine, David Koff. David Koff, very nice man in Joburg. He was a racing fanatic, loves racing. I think he was involved with Sun International, Robbie Blank, all those guys. They're all mates, David Koff. Sale from Seattle out of a Rich Man's Gold mare. This is a very nice start debut for it. And we think that this horse will go and win some races for David. Let's go and have a look at Rosario Race 2 at Turpentine.
Yeah, this has got a beautiful draw. It comes out very awkwardly. It sort of tries to fly jump there. And the rider gets balanced up. And it's young Warren Kennedy, who's a top rider today. He managed to get balanced. They start going out quickly. And again, your winner here is for Ormond Ferraris, and his grandson Luke rides this. It was called Frankly by Frankel, who goes out to the lead, being pressured a bit by Atomic Kitten, Avant Garde. But the horse in yellow is the horse we found. And the penny only drops with Rosario, we feel, late in the race.
Well, I thought Luke Ferraris rode a very good race on this horse, and obviously we'll chat to him about his racing later. But this Frankel filly, nice to see her win, very enterprising in front. The horse in the yellow in fourth is the horse we picked up in David Koff's colours, and frankly now kicks for home. And this filly's fifth now, she's just actually dropping out of it. So it's very surprising where she does run, because she only gets going late. Warren starts working on her. She starts running on.
Yeah, she runs on very nicely. You can see here, and you're thinking, how does she run third? The horse on the inside's got her beat, and the horse in the middle's got her beat. She's not going to run third. But Warren gives a smack with the left hand, and suddenly, one more jump, she's second.
Yeah.
Good debut.
Good debut, and we wish him the best with it. We hope that it's going to end up a very nice horse for them, because, as you say, guys who love racing, he never misses a race, meaning David Koff. He loves going to the races. They deserve to own a horse or two that can run.
Of course.
You know, but let's move on and see what shouldn't happen. Well, this shouldn't happen.
No, this shouldn't happen. The reindeer's dog being chased through the arse by the horse.
He's hungry. I told him before. That horse is hungry. You know?
That shouldn't happen that we see that again.
Well, it shouldn't be seeing it again.
Shouldn't be seeing it again. We
anyway,
put
I'm
those
sure
to the archives.
No, you know what happened? Spielberg's gone.
Where's Spielberg?
Spielberg's in Joburg.
Spielberg and Joburg.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's he up there for?
So we've got Alan. We got what's his name? The Portuguese guy.
We were robbed.
Yeah.
Paulo.
Yeah.
Paulo, we was robbed. Does he?
Yeah. He's back.
Speak to him.
Yeah, and Denver's in charge.
Yeah, Denver's in charge.
Yeah.
Denver must have a word with we was robbed.
Yeah, but Denver is accommodating. He's a good guy.
The other guy's a comedian. Accommodating a comedian can sort it out for us.
Anyway, you can watch the full unabridged version at www.goldcircle.co.za. Go to the YouTube icon and you can watch the whole show there. But we're going to see the plum of the week.
Gold Image. Essence of Life, 2 lengths to hunt down. Salima to the inside. Touch of Magic gave a good kick coming to the 300. Boeing City's on the outside. Essence of Life's going to come out for a run, but it's Touch of Magic from Boeing City coming to the 200. Essence of Life on the outside. Boeing City by a length from Touch of Magic. Dame Commander. Essence of Life's getting going late, but Boeing City's in front, and Boeing City's going to win it. Essence of Life second. Dame Commander, Touch of Magic, and Ginger Biscuit.
Well, this filly has won now 3 out of her 5 starts. She's pretty useful. She ran a great filly. Barrier trial.
Great barrier trial, very fast filly, up with the speed, won a very good race. Funny enough, young Serena Moodley only had 2 rides, he won on both of them.
Yeah, good for him.
I think Garth's got a share in this.
Yeah, he told me it's leased from Marion Thompson, the breeder.
Yes,
okay,
that's right.
Which is fantastic, and nice to see them win. And she's a very nice filly. I don't know how far she's going to go, but certainly she's done very, very well. So,
what price was she?
She could have got 3 to 1 on Interbet.
Oh,
this filly.
Big,
she actually drifted like a barge. She started off 15 to 10, 2 to 1 Interbet. She ended up a starting price of 26 to 10. But I'm telling you, there was 3 to 1 available about this filly, and she's very, very useful. So if you're having a bad day on Sunday, that was the way that you had to get out of it with Interbet. Yeah. We're going to take a break.
Best race time odds, transparency of betting markets, friendly and super efficient staff, the ability to negotiate odds, a full service tote with no limits, which is very important for exotic players, loyalty program, speedy withdrawal of funds, full odds multiple betting, and excellent in-play markets. These are just some of the many reasons that come to mind as to why I believe, as a serious punter, there is no online operator in South Africa that can realistically come close to matching what Interbet has to offer. Put simply, there's no other site like it. And the ability to negotiate odds adds to my fun and enjoyment. Interbet, where the professionals bet.
Well, welcome back for Current Affairs. We had racing down in Cape Town Stakes racing. We saw a horse retain the unbeaten status, and we had racing up on the Halfveld. We obviously had the Arc, and we had Winks making it 21 Group 1s in a row, 28 wins. So
let's start with her, Winks.
Yeah, let's start with her. I agree with you, because I was just looking up some of the things in Winks, and you know what I found very, very interesting, James, is that this Turnbull Stakes, which she's won for second time out. Now, she went into the race with this fantastic record, but they slowed it up. They slowed it right up. She ran the first 800 metres as opposed to the second 800 metres, 46 lengths quicker, the second 800 metres. 10.7 or something for the final furlong. Winks.
Well, if you watch it, and I'm sorry we haven't got it, it was just absolutely incredible. She had no chance going through the 400 metre mark. Bowman, he eventually got her out Bowman, and in a matter of 5 strides, she had them beaten 1 by a length.
Yeah, she said.
She is a great racehorse. You can't, everyone's carrying on about, she's beating the same horse as this and the other. Times don't lie. And the way she wins, she's beating Group 1 horses. Group 1s are Group 1s. You know, you can't just win them.
Stablemate ran second, funnily enough.
Yeah.
But now August, 20 days' time.
Cox Plate.
Cox Plate. And that'll be the race that the world will watch.
I think she's better than she's ever been.
I'll ask you one question. She's 7. She's unbeatable still. Would you keep her in training?
Yeah.
A lot of people have said, well, how much more should she do? And a lot of people said,
she
why deprive us?
She loves her racing. She goes for a holiday for 6 months.
So you'd run until she got beat?
She got beat.
Yeah.
Send her to stud.
Yeah.
But
no problem, it's just an opinion.
I think horses are bred to race.
Yeah.
You know? And
the first part of it is
I think
bred.
Far too early, many people send horses to stud. Enable, just talking about her, John Gosden's very keen to run her next year. You know.
James, what would you value Winks at? Bear in mind, you could sell the first baby for 5 million.
She's got no value.
It's got to have a value. Could Black Caviar have a value?
No
it's only one a year. Is it going to be every year? How many years? You're going to after 3 years, you might not throw something brilliant. It's an interesting question, how they value. But anyway, that was Winks. Unfortunately, we didn't have the race for you, but maybe next week we'll show it to you just to remind you of how good she is. And she'll have, 13 days to go before she runs to try and get her 4th Cox Plate. That was a term. Right, let's go back to, before we go into the racing order we got, is Cape Town first, James.
Right.
And the first race we're looking at is what is
Diana.
Diana. I keep forgetting the Diana Stakes. And interesting, the favourite got beat, but a great success for Trippy.
Yes, they ran 1-2, and Love to Boogie, Andre Nell for the Platiners, Bernard Fade Herb at his best. I thought he rode a magnificent race on this horse to win, because really the third horse, Good Time Gal, was the favourite, came from quite a long way back.
Yeah, see, James, the first 4 finished very close.
Very close. Let's go and pick them up at the start, at the 600 at least.
From Samsara and Dynamic Diana, about 5 lengths off the leader. Love to Boogie up on her outside. They're being followed by Good Time Gal back at the rails as they start to corner for home with 600 for the line in the Diana Stakes of 2018. Red Ginger straightened up the leader, has the advantage from Samsara. Love to Boogie. Dynamic Diana along the inside starts to creep closer. Red Ginger's the one to catch. They come inside the final 300, has the lead. Love to Boogie. Dynamic Diana along the inside's also starting to run on. Angel's Trumpet starting to weave her way through, and she's coming home strongly. Red Ginger, Love to Boogie. Angel's Trumpet back along the insides, coming home strongly. Love to Boogie's in front. Angel's Trumpet up on the outside, also flying. Good Time Gal between runs, going to be close. Love to Boogie gets up to win it. Flying Miss Catlin for minor money. In behind that, Good Time Gal, a wall of them for minor mots.
Gee, terrific finish to that race, especially the two that flashed up, Miss Catlin and was a Good Time Gal.
Yeah, Good Time Gal.
They flashed up a perfectly timed ride by Bernard Fade.
Absolutely perfect. He got there at exactly the right time. If he'd gone...
Yeah. Not much between that whole bunch, James. The first 5, 6, they were up close, eh?
Let's move on to the next one, because this is, to me, there were 2 highlights of the weekend. One, World winning. He won a fantastic race, just showed guts, came back and won the race. I nearly made him the plum of the week, but, we just thought Rainbow Bridge was the horse of the week. I haven't seen a horse win like this for a long time. This race is remember, he's come back from a break.
Yeah.
He won races that everyone was saying, oh, well, they're not too strong. So he came back in the weight for age, against
very good
probably the best 1,400 horses you can find. Tracked probably too short for him. This was very, very impressive. Let's go and pick him up at the start, at the 600.
About 6 lengths off the leader. Kampala Campari leads the way, has it from 50 cents, is racing in second. Milton in behind those, and they being followed by Bernie on the far side at that, and that's racing about 4 lengths off the leader. Our mate Artie's creeping closer up on their outside with Rainbow Bridges. They start to corner for home in the Matchroom Stakes of 2018. Kampara Campari with Milton back along his inside, those 2 the leaders. Our mate Art starts to close in, rising down towards the inside. New Caledonia's hooked to the centre for his run, 50 cents. Rainbow Bridges also got running in up the outside. It's Our mate Art down towards the inside, from New Caledonia. These two have come clear. Bernie's running home strongly down towards the inside, and Rainbow Bridge up the outside is also starting to run home strongly. Rainbow Bridge is coming home strongly at New Caledonia over the last 100. New Caledonia, Rainbow Bridge is coming clear, and Rainbow Bridge goes on to win from New Caledonia. Tapanoth was running on over towards the outside, and our mates are down the inside.
Superbly impressive again, and really ran on well. Bernard Fader timed it beautifully. See our football mates, Iggerson and McCabe, they got runner-up.
Yeah.
New Caledonia.
Yeah.
Jim,
Really.
what did you think of, obviously the winning run was fantastic. Good run, Tapanoth from off
Yes,
them.
I think that he's the other one to pencil in.
Yes.
It was a cracking good run. He was given far too much to do.
Yeah.
The track was running pretty quick, but the way this horse Rainbow Bridge won was, I mean, super impressive.
Yeah.
And you just do not find horses winning
Fantastic
like
for Chris Gerber, because
Yeah.
they bought it from, I think, Maritzfontein.
that. Yeah, it's an ideal
Wilberforce.
world, yeah.
Ideal world, they stay on beautifully.
And for Eric Sands, you know,
Top trainer.
I must say, Eric Sands, I've known him since he was started, and he started in Bloemfontein. You know, he started training racehorses.
He looks
in
like he
Bloemfontein.
could be from Bloemfontein,
Yeah.
if you ever look at him.
No, but he's he won't be pleased.
Very, very good trainer. I've
Hey,
always said that. Eric Sands, when he trained for the chairman of Arsenal
Yeah.
years ago, your club,
Yeah.
and he had that, it was a flow by you or one of those.
That's right, yeah.
And you know, he's just, it's all about giving a man horses. You give
Giving
Eric Sands
horses,
horses, he'll do as well as anybody.
Exactly, and I think this horse might end up doing very, very well.
This could go all the way.
Yeah,
This could go all the way.
Could go
Yeah.
all the way. He is a gelding, ideal world out of a Jetmaster man. This is where you always find that class comes through.
Absolutely. The cream comes to the top, James.
Yeah. Anyway, well done to them.
Yeah.
We then move to Johannesburg and we go to the Joburg Spring Challenge. Fillies and mares, they go from the 600. This was super impressive as well because this was way too short for this filly. Let's go and pick him up at the 600.
Taking the piece. Cascapedia follows them, then Sylvan on fire further back to Desert Rhythm and San Furman. Homeward bound in the Joburg Spring Fillies and Mares Challenge, and Wrecking Ball leads by 5 lengths from Folk Dance. Gala's away in third, then Aldanza, Rose in Bloom, followed by Emily J, Desert Rhythm and Cascapedia with Taking the Piece. 300 to go, Wrecking Ball by 4 lengths. Folk Dance emerges as the danger with Gala. On the outside is Aldanza, and further back to Cascapedia and Desert Rhythm. Wrecking Ball still leads. Gala's a big danger on the outside with Aldanza, and here comes from the back Cascapedia, and Cascapedia finished best of all to beat Aldanza. Third place will go to Gala, then Desert Rhythm, Wrecking Ball and Sylvan on Fire.
Yeah, very good win this, James. And Gavin Lorena's back in a big way. Timed it perfectly. Close finish if you consider where they all finished.
Yeah, I thought this was super impressive. This filly might not take that much because she's won like 6 of her last 8 starts now. And she's by High Chaparral out of a Dancily mare. Oh, crikey, you know what she's worth.
Yeah.
And the win was ultra impressive.
Yeah.
To beat these horses over this type of trip, very good. Nice for Maritzfontein, and it's bred obviously in Ireland, Northern Hemisphere bred.
Yes.
Let's go and have a look at the next one. Was the Joburg Spring Challenge, and here's a horse that is as gutsy and as game as they come. 8 years old.
Captain L.
Yeah, 8 years old. He still ended up winning, and he beat all the young guns. But I thought a couple of the young guns were a bit unlucky. Let's go and pick them up at the 600. Captain Aldo.
Further back with Hatpuntano. Further down the field is Coral Fever Africa Rising, and Noble Secret is the trailer now homeward bound in the Joburg Spring Challenge. They've got 500 to go, and Captain Elder led by length and a half from Full Master. Champagne Haze always in charge. Eliasart's gone down the inside. Here is Socrates, still got 3 lengths to make up. Further back of the field is Africa Rising. 2:20 to go. Captain Eldo's tackled by Full Mast. On the outside is Socrates, still 2 to go. Eliasart is towards their inside. Captain Eldo. Eliasart is down the inside, running on strongly. It's still Captain Eldo. Eliasart is coming home on the inside. Eliasart, Captain Eldo. Captain Eldo, I think, just won it from Eliasart. Third to Socrates, Full Mast, Noble Secret.
Oh, well done to St. John Gray. As James said, 8-year-old, but Warren Kennedy is just riding out of his skin, and they managed to keep the cock horses at bay.
Yeah, it's out of an Eliodor mare bred by the Bull Stud, and St. John and Aldo Girola own this together.
Yes, yeah.
This is one of the gamest horses you've ever seen. When he gets it right, he is very, very hard to get past.
It's Captain L, some stallion he was, sure. 400 grand race too, so nice little bit for the coffers there. Second and third horses ran good races, James?
I thought so. I thought that they probably, just needed it.
Yeah.
The second horse was meeting the third horse on 2 kilos terms.
Yeah.
There's very little between the two of them at
That's
level
right.
weights. It will be very interesting to see how the jockey arrangements come along when these two horses start meeting in big races. But obviously the weekend was... the highlight had to be Arc weekend.
Yes.
You go to the Arc and you watch the races. And just got a couple of races that we should talk of before we go to the Arc. The Prix d'Opera, Wild Illusion.
Yeah.
That's Charlie Appleby.
Charlie Appleby's going to.
So pleased for him.
He's such a good trainer. It's one about 3 Group 1s now, James, and it's going to the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, and it's out of a Monson mare.
Yes.
Okay? So it shows you the influence Monson's had on world breeding. He's a German horse. He won the Arc himself as well, I think. She won the Marcel Boussac.
Yeah.
William Buick rode her last year.
Yeah.
And she's very,
top
very
draw.
good. Yeah. And then obviously the Prix de l'Abbé
is the big sprint.
Is the big sprint, okay? And it was won by Mabs Cross.
That's right.
Yorkshire horse.
Yeah, by Dutch Art.
Dutch Art, yeah. Dutch Art.
Pickup ride too.
Gerald Mosse.
Yeah, pickup ride.
Out of a Pivotal mare.
That's right.
Enough, yeah.
There were 2 Group 1s of the day out of Pivotal mares, James.
Yeah. Now, the interesting thing about Prix de l'Abbé, in the last 40 runnings, 36 have been won by outside French horses.
Prix de la Forêt.
No, the Prix de l'Abbé.
Prix de l'Abbé, sorry.
Yeah. 36 out of the 40 winnings have been won by
visitors.
International challengers. Var won the Prix de l'Abbé.
That's right.
I think he was bred in France. Trained in France. He's one of the
Var won the Prix de l'Abbé.
Yeah.
All that speed.
30 have been British. 30 of the 40 winners, 3/4 of them have been British. Well, Michael Dodds, well done to him. He's not a big yard.
Yeah.
And ended up winning this. I just think it was absolutely fantastic.
Very good, Prix de l'Abbé.
And it got beaten the shortest of short heads in the
Nunthorpe, that's right.
By Alpha Delphini.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what it cost as a yearling?
No.
How much do you think Mabs Cross cost?
20,000 quid.
£3,000 at the Dockers in November.
Well, there we go.
£3,000.
Well done.
There's hope for everyone.
There's hope for everyone.
Isn't it wonderful? That these
last week we spoke about a guy who was a teller who won the Gold Cup in America.
Exactly,
yeah.
Exactly. The other big race was the Grand Criterium. Royal Marine won for the other boys in blue, Orson Murphy and
James, the Prix de la Forêt was won by William Haggis' trained horse, giving him consolation for the Arc.
Yeah, well, when we watch the Arc, you'll see where this horse comes from that runs second. But there's a whole picture will unfold for you. And just to give you a look at it, Enable did not have the best preparation. There are problems. She had not the proper groundwork. She'd had a virus. All types of things were not right with her.
Her blood was wrong.
Watch
temperature.
Frankie Dettori, how he nurses this mare. He never gave her a smack. And then you watch the second horse, where that comes from. It came from Stone Last. It ran past the whole field, William Haggis' horse, the 3-year-old. Let's go and pick him up. So it was sad to see a horse lose the race.
Yeah.
But the champion won. Let's go and pick him up at the start.
They're off. They race away. They get away to a fairly even line. Sea of Class just drops in towards the back of the field. Saluan, who Can Pace said is one of the back markers as they begin, and Nelson in the pink colours to clincher. Blue and red jacket against the running rail, and one of the greys, Capri, is up there. Paris Coy just restrained in behind those. Enable, the pink cap, has gone through into 5th position. Defoe, Andre Zenius, the one keeps wide from the others. Dark Blue Jacket, a hunting horn, is just ahead of Study of Man. Tiberian against the running rail, a blue jacket and pink sleeves, followed through then by Talismanic, who's around the outside of Cloth of Stars. Saluan maroon and white against the running rail. Voltgeist, a red jacket, spot him about 6 or 7 from the right towards the back of the field with Way to Paris. Nerf Bosk is next. Kew Gardens way back in the field, accompanied with Louis Dore. Then Sea of Class, yellow jacket, one from the right of picture. She is in company with Magical right at the back of the field. They head to the top of the hill in the arc then, and it's Nelson, the pink jacket, who's leading. One of his stablemates, Capri, is behind in 2nd place. In yellow, Defoe sits 3 off the running rail in 3rd, just shading Enable. She holds 4th just about at this stage. Clincher is against the running rail with the yellow bridle next to her. Dark Blue Jacket of Hunting Horn, 3 from the running rail. Padaskoy in blue and black is just in behind Tiberian. Then comes Study of Man. Talismanic is around the outside of runners with his big white face. Cloth of Stars is in company with him, and then comes Saluan as they head down to the full straight now, and it's Nelson out in front. Voltgeist is still about 5 or 6 from the back of the field in the red. Sea of Class, she is just about last of all. Magical on the extreme right is with her at the rear of the field. Enable, Poise, she's in 3rd as they come to the home turn, and it is Nelson in front to Capri, a length and a half in 2nd place. There's almost 2 lengths to Enable in 3rd. Clincher runs a big race against the running rail. Tiberian, Hunting Horn and Defoe behind these from Cloth of Stars. Padaskoy is next, and then trying to make progress is Sea of Class. As Enable now comes to chase Capri, who's got the lead. They go past Nelson. Cloth of Stars is there. Study of Man down the centre. Sea of Class in the yellow towards the right is out into the clear. This is the last furlong. Enable is in front, chasing her home Capri. Here's Sea of Class in the yellow down the outside. She's flying at Enable and Frankie Dettori, who have the lead. They come towards the line. Enable, she's done it just to Sea of Class, Cloth of Stars, and then Voltgeist, who moved into 4th position. Saluan and Kew Gardens was behind these, and then Capri and Study of Man, and then Way to Paris and Nelson and Tiberian, Padaskoy and Talismanic and Defoe. There are more coming as well, Clincher and Nerf Bosk, and then Hunting Horn. It's close. It is the 2 fillies from the UK, and it is a second.
Well, there we go. Enable now gets 2 wins in this race. The first horse that's come through a poly prep into this, James. The runner-up, the 3-year-old. 17 of the last 23 years were won by 3-year-olds and mainly fillies. Hunting Horn, I think, is the only one who's not a filly in the last 10 years.
If you go back in history, fillies like Dahlia, the Arc has always been good for fillies. Now,
fantastic.
why? It's coming to the end of the season.
The fillies are dominating worldwide again. From Black Caviar, Winks, Zenyatta. They've had their term. Look at South Africa. Kevin Shea won 2 Julys. They're both on fillies.
Yeah.
Igugu, people always say a good colt beat a good filly. That's a myth.
That's the biggest myth ever.
Biggest myth in racing.
Smart call.
Yes, like correct. Oh, Susanna won the Met, 3-year-old filly. But she's
wrap it up.
Won 9 of 10 starts. Frankie said we're on our knees in the finish, but the spirit of thought for the runner-up. Great run. The third
I feel sad for them, because that's what I say. To have a winner and a loser.
Yeah.
You end up you draw 19 out of 19. Apparently, Maureen phoned her father, Lester, and said, "What do you do?" And he said, "Same as you always do."
Just lasting forever break, James. Carice Teaton, 5 winners at Charlton, 3, Tony Millard 3. Very good.
Well done to them.
Yeah,
South Africans flying the flag. You'll be watching Luke Ferraris any moment. You'll enjoy chatting to him. This is a name to watch for the future. This guy's going to end up a champion jockey.
Dick Francis.
Well, as promised to you, Luke Ferraris. Now, here's a young man that's steeped in racing. And he's come to the studio this morning and a bit apprehensive, a bit nervous of what's going on. He's just started his career as an apprentice jockey and making big waves in the racing industry. And Luke, nice to have you here in the studio. And it's a bit fortuitous because you actually got injured on Saturday, so you're not able to ride work. What happened?
Thanks, Mr. Goodman. Yeah, on Saturday was my first ride of the day. I went to go jump on my first ride, and it's first time, and it kicked out, and it caught me on my leg.
And you carried on riding through the day?
Yeah, I did. So I was able to finish the meeting, and then the swelling got a bit worse and the pain, and I wasn't able to ride on Sunday, but it's all better now.
Getting better?
Yes, sir.
Well, you rode a cracker on a horse on Saturday. Just talk us through it. The Artie, the filly of the Maroons. I think you've ridden before. You won on her before, but that was an amazing race.
Yeah. So the long-time leader, she had raced against him before, and he did the same thing. But yeah, he really stretched out the field his last run, and Arto could never really catch him in his last run. But this time we opted to just take a sit on her and save her up, and when I asked at the top of the straight, she really did quicken up well.
Well, the other horses, the two of them had gone clear. It looked like, I think it was Candace Dawson's horse and Dromedaris, Robbie Sage's horse, that just gallops, doesn't stop. And the last 100, this filly just showed tremendous resolution. She's probably very, very gutsy, isn't she?
She is. It was my second win on her. We did have a big weight advantage. She was only carrying 50.5. But yeah, she really did quicken up well and impressed us all.
Talking about weight, how is your weight?
It's good, Mr. Goodman. I can ride my bottom weight for my claim, 52 minus a 1.5. So yeah, it's all going well. So,
because you're a tall lad, the academy obviously has always been on your radar. They weren't very keen to take you, were they?
I'm not too sure what the story was, but I was happy I could get in.
Well, your measurements were wrong. They said that you're going to be too big. But there are lots of good big jockeys, aren't there?
There are. I've seen a lot of, you got the Douglas White or the tall jockeys, Lester Piggott. So yeah, those are the jockeys I really aspire to.
Christoph Simeon, do you know him?
Yes,
Have you met him?
Yeah.
He's a pretty tall boy, isn't he? And he battles with his weight. It's better to be a tall jockey. Most jockeys that are champion jockeys are tall guys. Richard Hughes was another one who springs to mind for me. Growing up in Hong Kong, you obviously came across a lot of these guys who were really brilliant at their job.
I did. Watching their racing, I picked up on a lot of different racing styles. The way the other boys rode, you came up with the Americans riding to time. The Australian jockeys mixed with South Africans. So all, got a taste of everything really. I learned times, and yeah, I think it's all helped me in my career so far. So I'm really grateful for that.
And did you go to track work a lot and to see a lot of track work, ride a bit of work there before you came here?
I was never allowed to ride work, but I used to wake up in the morning with my dad, and I go to track in my school clothes. And my mum and I always used to get in arguments because I'd always be late for school, getting stuck at the yard. But yeah, that's where I really got hooked on it.
But school came in two parts because you did school in Hong Kong.
Yes.
But you were at school here as well, weren't you?
When I was 10, I came back to boarding school.
And tell us about that.
Yeah, I suppose it's helped me a bit with the academy being a boarding school facility. But yeah, it was all right.
St Andrews, Grahamstown. Is that where you were?
Yeah.
A damn good school.
Yes, sir.
Now apparently you could play rugby.
I did. I played a lot of sport there. Hockey, rugby, cricket. There was a lot of sporting facilities.
And you enjoy sport?
Yes, sir.
So what did you think of the rugby on Saturday?
Well, I didn't watch too much of it because of racing.
Obviously racing,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, a bit disappointed.
Get beaten, very disappointing,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Going back to your childhood, Luke, and you know, obviously you're born in a family that's steeped in racing, but and your mother was a very good horsewoman.
Yes, sir.
You know, she rode in a race.
Yes, I saw some of the pictures. Yeah, I think I couldn't have asked for a better grounding. Just, you know, when Dad and Granddad were there, sitting on the couch, listening to the conversations about racing, it all really captivated me. You know, just wanting to be involved in it, and then now riding for Granddad. You know, we sit and have a conversation. I say, and I tell them I've ridden that horse, and you know, it's all. I've really been really blessed with the grounding I've had, and the advice and criticism I get back from them, and you know, it's really helped me a lot.
A lot of criticism?
Good, yes. The criticism, it's all about how you take it, really. They are, you know, many people know them as hard men in racing, and you know, they are, but they're men that don't, they tell you straight how it is, and they don't lie, or they tell you the truth.
Yeah, so you know exactly where you stand with them.
Yes, 100%.
Well, your granddad must have been pretty impressed with you when you rode your first winner for him.
It was a big weight off the shoulders, really. I still remember flying up for the meeting and my first ride from my grandfather, and all the stories being told about, you know, coming back to the box and running second or doing something you shouldn't have. But yeah, it was a storybook tale. My first ride from was a winner, and my second ride from was a winner as well.
Yeah.
So my first winner on the meeting was my first double as well, both for him. And I think that's really where the relationship started. We've been doing pretty well so far.
Well, let's go and have a look at Luke riding his first winner for his grandfather, Ormond Ferraris, at the Val. This was a very momentous occasion. Let's go and pick him up.
Form comes up. 1,200 metres. First of 9 at the Val, gates open, and they sprinting away. A little like a touch slow, but for a bunch of babies, they got out pretty much in a straight line. First one to break, My Dream Chaser on the inside. Vivier shows pace. Up there too is Crimson Royale. Waxing Moon is in the early vanguard. Furler's on the extreme inside, and Crimson Royale tucks just in behind the leaders. Party and Main in the middle of the course in the darker blue colours, racing about 2 lengths from the leader. Flirty, Gertie, Gimme a Symphony. Over towards the outside, Rail Trip shows a lot of pace. That's tracked by Jailhouse Jazz. Pulcheria and Waltz With Me travel together towards the middle outside. They're both in green silks. A Little Luck was further back. Then we go back to Luscious Locks, Jet and Style up towards the extreme inside. Red Beach has been asked to run 6th form. La Chacha are towards the outside. 400 metres left to go. Vivier's in front. Rail Trip towards the outside. Then comes Pulcheria. Further back to Crimson Royale. Furler. Then comes Jailhouse Jazz. They got about 3 to 4 lengths to make up, but Vivier's in front. Rail Trip towards the outside. Then comes Jailhouse Jazz. My Dream Chaser is further back, but Vivier is in the lead. Rail Trip nearest us is having a go with Crimson Royale. Vivier's just the leader. Vivier did it for Luke Ferraris. Second to Rail Trip, then came Crimson Royale. Jailhouse Jazz was next.
Well, you watch that replay, no stick, just hands and heels. Did you go a bit early?
It always stressed to me that, and with any other horse I've ridden for him, to wait for the 400. And yeah, I suppose I got a bit excited there, but she really, I've struck up a relationship with that filly. So she's won 2 now, and I've ridden it to victory twice now. But yeah, I think she's a special filly.
She could be a classic filly. She looks like she's got a lot of potential.
She has. Her only issue is she gets a bit uptight before the races. But yeah, she has a lot of ability.
Going back to your childhood, and you know, obviously, as I said, I've known your family for a long, long time. You really enjoy nature and that type of thing. Game reserves and that, you spend a lot of time there?
Yeah, a lot of our holidays, you know, well, a lot of my friends from my old school, they had a lot of game farms and hunting farms. But I remember our holidays in the Kruger Park, and those are always a classic. We used to love going up there, and the game drives, and yeah, so we've always been involved with animals.
They tell me that you know a bit about birds.
That would be my mom. She's more of the bird expert than me. Yeah, she's
But she loves going to the game farm as well.
Yes.
Now, obviously, you know, it's not only your immediate family that are in racing, but your uncle and aunt got the stud farm. Have you ever been up there? You spent a lot of time up there?
We did. Christmases we used to spend up there. We got a lot of good memories up there. I remember when we were young, we used to go, me and my sister, we used to go when it was foaling season. And we would go sit with the night guard and wait for them to foal. And those are great memories.
Clifton Stud.
Yes.
It's a great place, isn't it? A beautiful, beautiful farm.
Lovely farm.
And, you know, Peter was a racehorse trainer.
I think he used to train at the Val.
Yeah, him and I started together. He was a polo player as well.
Yes, sir.
He was a very good polo player, Peter Bly.
Yeah.
So, you know, the family is steeped in the horse tradition. Did you ever have a go at playing polo?
No. I used to ride ponies and pony school and all of that, but I never got to polo.
I hear that there's a story about you on the beach where you really were flapping your arms around. So obviously that your father probably gave you a clip around the ear and said, don't do that because you're nice and balanced now.
That was in Bali. We went for a holiday and there was beach riding. And I remember there was an ex-racehorse there that they had, and I asked if I could ride that. Because that was when I'd been going to track and I had the idea in my mind of becoming a jockey. And and they put me on her, and we went out onto the beach and we started riding, and slowly I started pulling my irons up and no one could notice. And they got high and high, and then I asked if they could take me off the lead rein, and they did. And that's when we had a bit of fun. My mum didn't think it was too fun, but afterwards we all had a laugh.
So how long have you actually been in the saddle, Luke? Basically since you were very young.
From when I can remember, really. I always remember horses being a part of my life. Going to the stables and just being around them. It was always what I used to do for fun, and riding especially. That was my main source.
Your sister, is she involved? I know she's a big fan of yours.
She is. She's very up to date with the racing of mine and my dad's. She really is interested in racing, and she reads a race well. She picks out things that sometimes my dad and I miss. Everyone in the family is involved in it.
And your mum obviously got a pretty good idea too.
Yes.
Of what's going on. You like animals, that's patently clear. And I hear you're allowed an animal at the academy, which is very unusual.
Mr. Rivlin's brought a dog into the academy, and he sort of stuck to me, and he's been with us ever since. So he's a new addition.
It was a stray, apparently.
Yes, yeah.
Stray dog, and you've given it a home.
Yes.
What's it called?
His name's George.
George.
Yeah.
Now, apparently Lafferty calls you Dick Francis. How did that come about?
I won't forget my first day at track. My mom had told me about Mr. Lafferty and him being a character, and I saw him, towering over everyone, and I recognized him, and I thought I better go and introduce myself. And I went up to him, and it was my first day at Summerfelt, and I was a bit shy, and I went to greet him, and him being up there, and I was down below his knees, and I went to say hello, and I don't know if he couldn't hear me or if he was just having a laugh, but he called me Dick Francis, and it stuck with me ever since. Yeah,
he said, what's your name? You said, Hugh Farrar. And he thought it sounded like Dick Francis.
Yeah, he said I mumbled, but to me I was shouting.
Well, he's quite a long way up,
because he was up in the clouds. He thought I was mumbling.
Did you get a ride for him?
I think I've had one.
Yeah, but you can get to see him at work in the morning.
Yes, yeah.
He's the only guy you'll see in the winter that wears shorts
and slops.
On the cold. Well, if you get as much hair as he's got, that's why he would wear shorts. Yeah, he's got his own blanket.
He's got a built-in jacket.
Sean Terry, he's latched onto you.
I've been fortunate with the support of Mr. Terry. When Lyle Hewitson was out, when he was injured, Mr. Terry offered me a few rides, and I rode a few winners for him, and he's continued to give me some support. and I've been very grateful for it. I thoroughly enjoy riding for Mr. Terry. I enjoy his horses, his preparation, and yeah, we got a few nice babies coming through.
Luke, this all started when? A year ago? Just over a year ago?
Yeah, last year, January, was when I came to the academy. Then my first year, I got to track fairly quick. And then late November, I had my first few rides. Then it was December, and while you're still qualifying, you're not allowed to ride through December, which was a bit of a hard one to take for me, because I had nothing else on my mind. But you taste it for the first time, and you want to find your first winner and ride your first winner, and so it gets a bit addictive. Then we came back. I had an incident at Ashburton with the zebra near the track, and so that put me out for about 6 weeks.
What did you do? You did your wrist or something?
Yeah, I was galloping. I jumped the horse out for Mr. Gatsby, and the zebra were right near the track, and the horse ducked. And so that landed me out for 6 weeks, and then, yeah, when I came back, it all went to plan.
So basically from February till now, you've ridden, what, 40 winners?
No, I'd say I've ridden about my full, because February was when I rode Revere, around there. So I've ridden 51 now. 51,
yeah.
Yes.
You got to 1.5 claim.
Yes.
So you've ridden 51 winners in 10 months. Lyle Hewittson's obviously the boy that everyone wants to get on top of. Is he the old man that you've got a target on his back?
Obviously the record Lyle's set, it'll be hard to catch him. But yeah, it's just taking it one step at a time.
The academies, obviously, you're used to this type of thing, but they're a great setup, and certainly they produce many wonderful jockeys, and you look like you're in line to join them.
Yeah, our riding masters do a great job there. Mr. O has been a big supporter of mine, Mr. O'Donoghue. But yeah, they've been supportive of me.
Well, Luke, it's fantastic having you on the show. Our time is up. We wish you everything of the best, and we know that you're going to get right to the summit. Hong Kong, is that where you'd like to ride? You don't want to ride for your father. He chops jockeys and changes jockeys too much. You'd rather find someone like, maybe one of the other guys.
Yeah, that'd be the main goal, really. I'd like to get experience elsewhere. Australia, I'd love to ride there. But yeah, Hong Kong would be the main goal. But before I get there, I'd love to, ride more winners here and elsewhere, and get as much experience. Because of the international setup that there is there, I think it'll be an advantage to me if I could ride in other parts of the world before going there.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Luke Ferraris, there's a man you keep on your radar. He comes from a family steeped in racing, and not only they're steeped in racing, they've been fantastic for South African racing. His father, his grandfather, Ormond, I've known him since I was a child. He started training in 1952. David's been going since 1995, and he's only just getting there. And young Luke, we'll watch him with interest, and thanks to him for coming on the show, and we hope that you've enjoyed the show. Until next week, have a good one.
Your World of Winners is now online at www.teletrack.com. Simply subscribe to log into your account from any mobile device in South Africa and access a wide variety of content from our membership package options. Listen in via a live audio stream, catch live racing locally and internationally, or view a wide variety of Teletrack magazine shows to stay informed and updated on the go at any time. It's never been easier. Go to teletrack.com now.